In life, a man can be rich, respected, and powerful and still discover he has nothing when the world changes. In Lagos, Tunde was a big man. As a senior consultant for a top tier engineering firm, his life was punctuated by the hum of a generator that never failed, the scent of expensive cologne, and the comfort of three domestic staffs. He didn't know where his socks were kept, nor did he know how the stew appeared in the fridge. He simply provided, and his wife Bisola managed the rest with a quiet, efficient grace. Then came the circumstances, a political upheaval that froze his company's assets, and a series of threats that made staying in Nigeria impossible. They fled to London with four suitcases and the remnants of their savings. The cold reality. Their first winter in a cramped flat in Peckham was a brutal awakening. For Bisola, the transition was a frantic blur. Within 3 weeks, she had registered for a nursing conversion course and secured a job as a care assistant, working grueling 12-hour night shifts. Tunde, however, remained in their chilly living room, staring at the grey sky through a window that didn't quite shut. He applied for three executive level roles, was rejected because he lacked UK experience, and promptly gave up. I cannot be a security guard, Bisola, he would say, his voice thick with wounded pride as she returned home at 7 a.m., her eyes bloodshot. I am an engineer. I have dignity. He spent his days on WhatsApp groups with his old friends in Nigeria, pretending it was consulting while waiting for Bisola to come home and cook. He expected the pounded yam to be smooth and the house to be spotless, just like in Lagos. When she asked him to help with the laundry or start the dinner, he'd scoff. In my father's house, a man does not enter the kitchen. I am the head of this home. The tension simmered for months. Tunde's refusal to work wasn't just about laziness. It was a desperate attempt to cling to the ghost of the man he used to be. But for Bisola, it was a heavy weight she could no longer carry. One Tuesday, Tunde woke up at noon. He walked into the kitchen expecting the usual aroma of jollof rice. Instead, he found a note on the counter next to a stack of unpaid utility bills and a dry loaf of bread. Tunde, I have gone to my double shift. There is no soup, there is no meat. If you're hungry, the grocery store is 2 blocks away. The card is on his table. It has £20 on it. That is all we have left for the week. Hunger eventually won. Tunde put on his heavy coat and walked to the local supermarket. He wandered the aisles confused by the labels and the self checkout machines. He felt small, invisible, and remarkably ordinary. As he queued to pay for a rotisserie chicken and some potatoes, he heard a familiar laugh. He froze. At the next register was Shegun, his former junior apprentice from Lagos. In Nigeria, Shegun used to bow when Tuni entered the room. Now Shegun was wearing a high visibility vest over a career uniform. He looked fit, energized, and was shouting warmly with the cashier. Shegun spotted Tunde and his face lit up. Oga Tunde, long time. I heard you move here. Tunde tried to hide his mega groceries. Yes, Shegun, I'm just overseeing some projects. Shegun leaned in, dropping the former tone. Oga, forget that one. I did that for 6 months too, sitting at home waiting for Nigeria to come to London. It almost killed my marriage. I thought I was too big to sweat. He patted Tunde on the shoulder. My wife is a manager at a bank now. I do deliveries during the day and I'm finishing my UK certification at night. When I get home, I scrub the floors because she pays the rent. In this London, Oga, there is no big man. There is only the useful man. If you don't help your wife, you will lose her. Tunde walked home in the biting wind, the chicken getting cold in his hand. He looked at the £20 receipt. He realized that for months he hadn't been a head of house. He had been a ghost haunting his own life. When Bisola returned home that night at 8 p.m., bracing herself for a cold house and a complaining husband. She stopped at the door. The smell of burnt potatoes filled the air, but the kitchen floor was wet and smelled of lemon bleach. Tunde was standing at the sink, his sleeves rolled up, clumsily scrubbing a pot. He looked exhausted and slightly humiliated, but he didn't turn away. The potatoes are a bit black, Tunde said, not looking up. And I don't know how to use the washing machine yet. But I called Shegun. He says there is an opening at his depot for a supervisor. I start on Monday. Bisola leaned against the door frame, the tension leaving her shoulders for the first time in a year. She didn't need a big man. She just needed a partner. Some shifts change where you live. This one changed who he became. Like and follow for more videos.